The internet disappears suddenly. Not a glitch, not a server error, it just disappears. Videos don't load, messages don't send, websites don't open. At first, people think it's temporary. They reboot their routers, check their cables, and complain about their providers. But the network's silence becomes frighteningly global. A world accustomed to being constantly connected is left alone for the first time in decades. People wake up in the morning and automatically reach for their phones. There's no news, no notifications, no feed. Televisions work, but they seem strangely slow and incomplete. No one knows what's happening in the world. The lack of information is more depressing than bad news. People are beginning to realize how much the internet wasn't just entertainment, but the nervous system of civilization. Companies can't contact customers. Online orders are frozen forever. Banking systems are partially operational, but transfers between countries are frozen. Logistics is collapsing, no one knows where their shipments are or when they will arrive. Millions of people realize their jobs have simply disappeared overnight. The economy built on digital connections is beginning to crumble like a house of cards. People can no longer message friends living in other cities. There are no social networks, no instant messaging apps. Contacts saved for years are locked away on useless devices. For the first time in a long time, distance becomes real again. Many realize they don't know the addresses or phone numbers of loved ones. Stores are urgently printing ads. Banks are pulling out old forms. People are remembering how to write by hand. Paper is becoming a valuable commodity again. Lines are stretching because everything is so slow. Mistakes can't be corrected with a single click. The world is moving at a pace humanity has almost forgotten. Teenagers feel especially lost. Their world has always been online. Without the internet, they feel as if they are losing their language. There are no familiar platforms, no digital identity. Face-to-face conversations are difficult. Anxiety, irritation, and emptiness arise. For the first time, technology doesn't distract from loneliness, it exposes it. Journalists return to phones and faxes. News travels slowly and fragmentedly. Rumors outpace facts. Panic grows because refutations arrive too late. Every city lives in its own version of reality. Truth is once again becoming local, not global. States are losing their tools of control and communication. Online communications, digital services, databases, all are inaccessible. Decisions are made slowly. Coordination between countries becomes more difficult. The world becomes more fragmented. Politicians understand that without the internet, power is less all-seeing and less responsive. People begin to communicate more with those nearby. Neighbors recognize each other by name. Bulletin boards, local meetings, and verbal agreements appear. Communities become smaller but stronger. The world shrinks to the size of a street, a neighborhood, a city. Photographs stored in the cloud disappear forever. Music, lyrics, archives, all are inaccessible. Humanity is losing a huge layer of its history. For the first time, people understand that they've entrusted their memory to a technology that could disappear in an instant. Those who can count, write, fix, and explain things become indispensable. Practical skills come to the fore. Knowledge can no longer be Googled. It must be stored in the head and transmitted directly. Teachers, craftsmen, and engineers are once again respected. Life slows down. Decisions take longer, roads seem longer, and waiting becomes the norm. People begin to notice details that previously flew by. A world without the internet is less convenient, but more tangible. And this is as frightening as it is inspiring. Schools and universities are at a loss. Online platforms have disappeared, digital textbooks are unavailable. Teachers are returning to blackboards, chalk, and live explanations. Learning is slower, but deeper. Students can no longer copy or look for ready-made answers. Knowledge must once again be understood, not copied. Mistakes are becoming part of learning, not a reason to press delete. Hospitals are losing access to digital databases, cloud archives, and remote consultations. Doctors are working from memory and paper charts. Queues are growing, decisions are being made more cautiously. Mistakes are more expensive. At the same time, the value of experience and intuition is increasing. Medicine is becoming more human, but also more vulnerable. Cards, online banking, cryptocurrency, all are useless. Cash is once again becoming the primary means of payment. People line up at banks, trying to figure out how much money they have. The economy is slowing, consumption is falling. Purchases are becoming more deliberate. Money is once again felt physically, not as numbers on a screen. Social media specialists, streamers, online marketers, entire professions disappear instantly. People who earned a living through virtual activity are left without a role. A painful search for new meaning begins. The world reminds us that it is not obligated to support convenient forms of employment. Information is passed by word of mouth. Stories are distorted, overgrown with details, frightening. A single false rumor can cause panic in an entire neighborhood. People are once again learning to doubt, verify, listen to multiple sources. Truth is no longer instantaneous. Music plays in the streets, books are read aloud, plays attract live audiences. There are no recommendations, no trends imposed by algorithms. Culture is becoming local and diverse. People create not for likes, but for the resonance here and now. Without the internet, cyber attacks disappear, but old threats return. Paper documents are easier to steal, forge, and destroy. People are locking safes again, guarding archives, and trusting less. Security becomes physical, not digital. Without constant notifications, time feels different. The day seems longer, quieter, denser. People begin to notice fatigue and rest. Boredom returns, and with it, reflection. The world no longer demands constant attention. Leaders become those who can speak, persuade, and organize in person. Charisma is once again more important than followers. Communities choose those they see and know personally. Power returns closer to the people. The internet created a sense of endless possibilities. Without it, boundaries become more visible. But at the same time, the constant comparison with others disappears. People feel less pressure from the success of others. Life becomes simpler and more honest. Stories are once again conveyed in words. Memories become fragile, but alive. Every recounted event is an act of preserving the past. Humanity understands that memory is not a server, but people. The world is not completely collapsing, but it is becoming different. Slower, more local, less convenient. People understand, the internet was not just a tool, but a crutch. And now civilization is learning to walk on its own again, awkwardly, painfully, but consciously. Without instant messaging and social media, loneliness is felt more acutely. People can no longer formally stay connected. If you're alone, you're truly alone. This is frightening, but at the same time, it forces you to seek out real-life connections. Meetings become more valuable, and silence more noticeable. The world stops pretending that everything is nearby. Every neighborhood turns into a small universe. People know shopkeepers by name, remember their neighbors, notice disappearances. News is no longer global, it concerns the surrounding streets. The world shrinks, but becomes more understandable. People again live where they are, not in an endless feed of events. When enough time passes, people stop asking if the internet will return. They're starting to ask if it's needed anymore. The world has become heavier, but more honest. Slower, but more vibrant. And for the first time in a long time, humanity is forced to decide for itself what it wants to be without the crutches of digital reality. Years later, it becomes clear, the world hasn't rolled back 50 years, it's gone in a different direction. Without the internet, humanity hasn't become more primitive, but it has changed. Mistakes are more costly, decisions are slower, memory is more important. People are once again learning to live without instant answers, without hints and likes. And perhaps for the first time in a long time, the future isn't downloaded, it's created by hand.